Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Horrifically Well Read Blood and Said. We are so happy that you've joined us for another insightfully unhinged conversation about horror and the books that reflect society and don't blink in the places that others do. If you enjoy what you hear, please make sure you like, subscribe, leave a review, leave a star rating for us. It really helps the podcast get noticed. And of course, we always want to reach as many horrifically well read friends as possible. So, without further ado, on to our conversation for today. Welcome back to Horrifically Well Read, Bled, and Said. Today we have the amazing, delightful Rebecca Cuthbert here. Her collection, A Hauntings Back Home, a collection of ghost stories, came out in October, and it's amazing. If you don't have it already, you need to, and we're going to talk about that and a bunch of other things. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me.
Yes, I'm so glad we're as we said, we're collecting Rebecca's and I love this, huge fan. I mean, there's so
All
many
the Rebecca's.
horror writers
Yeah,
that are talented named Rebecca. I need to like have them all come on, but we're so happy to have you. I mean, I feel like we're gonna just already have the best time because normally we don't get to have so much fun before we even start recording and we're just like we're already jamming out. So we're like, let's get this started because I mean, we've already discussed so many wonderful things,
yeah,
as Rebecca is
Yes.
probably as big of an animal lover as us, maybe more,
yeah.
which
Yes,
is hard to
we
come
all
by.
love them, and we would collect all of them if we can, and I can't, but you 2 seem to actually do it. You do the collecting, I wish I could.
Well, I feel like for a long time that there was for a long time, I made pretty decent money for, like, a decade, and I was like, "Okay, what can I do?" Like, instead of like, obviously, I can donate, I can do GoFundMes and things like that, but I was, like, really considering starting, like, making my own, like, nonprofit to try to, like, help with these kittens and things because I was and so I had a lot of people help and give them to me, but I didn't realize that there was such a high mortality rate among kittens.
Oh, yeah.
Puppies too, but I mean, if you have a litter of 4, I mean, it's not uncommon for I mean, it's at least 60 to 70% that survive or approximately. So I didn't really know that I was like, it was very devastating at first. So I kind of
Yep.
held off on the nonprofit part. And I was like, okay, I can still afford to do this, but I'm just gonna like that's my contribution monthly to take in strays, to do what I can. So now we have this whole colony, out in the garage, and I mean, now it is a heated garage, but just during, like, how freezing cold it is right now where it's gonna be, like, 1, 2, 3, 4 degrees this weekend, we'll bring them in, but we go out and socialize and, do everything, but they all get along, and I think we have, what, 12 or 14 out there?
That's what I was going to say. It was hard
I
to,
think it's
yeah.
12.
I think it's 12 total. We
Yeah.
have a lot that live in the house too.
Yeah, and we have 4 that are actually in the house, so 8 outside, 12 total, so and I have 2 that are available for adoption in, like, 2 weeks that I'm fostering.
Tiny little
Yeah, so
babies.
everybody,
I'm
if
not
you need a
keeping them,
cat, you know who to
Rebecca, I'm
talk
not
to.
Mhm.
keeping them.
At any point, more likely than not, whenever you're hearing this podcast, if you need a cat, you can probably
Yes,
contact
yes,
But you know
yes.
what I like about it, is I've really discovered that when you get a cat at the age like, the ones that we've gotten have been under a shed, they're, like, still have, like, the blue eyes or, they've been just born for several of them and abandoned where we've had to bottle feed. They are like little children. I mean, they are so bonded and they don't hiss, they never scratch, they don't bite, you can touch their bellies. Getting a cat from us, they're very well socialized and loved, and they get along with all other cats, and they're
Mhm.
not afraid of dogs, and that's really important because I think for a long time I had an idea that cats were so prissy, and they can be, but when they're socialized early like this, I think that's one thing I really take pride in is trying to be like, you're gonna get a really loving cat that actually
Wants to be
wants to be
around
with
you.
you, knows its name,
Yeah.
comes running, like, if I'm like, "Alright, it's time
Yes.
to go to bed," like, I call their name, they come up, like, it's good.
Yes, we have an orange boy, and he was hand raised by people I know at the shelter where I volunteer, and he was carried around all the time. And so when we got he's, like, kind of big and he's kinda heavy now, like, if I carry him for too long, my arm hurts. But he has been carried and loved since he was a baby, so that's his default.
Yeah, I love an orange boy cat. They tend to be bigger and they always have just quite a personality on them.
Ours is a true scaredy cat. I wish he was more goofy.
Yeah.
But
I wish
yeah,
mine
so
were less brave because he has 0 fear. These people raised him with a dog who was raised by their cats, okay? I gave them this foster puppy and knowing full well that they would foster fail. Like, I did this on purpose. I was like, "Here, take this
Knowing they'd
puppy,"
keep it okay.
knowing they would keep her. And so then she was raised by their cats, and then so all of the cats are socialized with their dog who thinks it's a cat, right? So
That's
none of
amazing.
them have any fear, and so Barnaby is an idiot, and he's
love
not
that
scared of
name.
anything. His name is Barnaby Jones, and he gets his full name called all the time because all he does is cause trouble, basically.
Oh man, that's wonderful. We have a cat named Dewey that's really like our
He's
pride and
the
joy.
he's the podcast producer.
Yes, he does. He is usually here with us helping
Adorable.
produce. He's a great editor. He helps out a lot. He when we let the dogs out to go out in the, spring and summer, he goes out with them, just hangs
He
out.
does. He'll lay on the pool deck. I actually have him he sat on a pool raft with me this summer,
That's adorable.
He is a doggish cat for sure.
which I love.
Yep.
I love a dog cat. Yeah, Barnaby comes when you call his name, which is
Love
I
that.
appreciate. Yeah.
Yes. I feel like there's, this concept of a soul dog, but Dewey is my soul cat. Like, I
Mhm.
definitely birthed him. I don't wanna go into details about that.
It's somewhat mystical. People don't need to
Your
He would
know.
be
biological
yeah.
cat.
He's I just sent Adam this afternoon someone that does really pet realistic photo tattoos, and I was like, "Okay, I would really like Dewey on my body somewhere
Yeah.
at some point just because I love him that much."
He's so distinctive because he got an eye infection when he was a tiny kitten.
Mhm.
So his one eye, like, is kind of glazed a little bit.
He's a horror cat. He's a little
Yeah.
creepy to look at in terms of his eye is, like, kinda clouded over and has that, like, extra sheath, I guess is how I would say it.
Oh my gosh, is it like the cat from The Last Unicorn?
Yes, yes, it's
Do you know who I'm
exactly like
talking
that.
about?
Yeah, yes, I love that because Peter Beagle, Finding Private Place is my favorite book of all time, but
But yeah, so he's a little creepy horror cat, and
Love it.
love that about him, but,
he is wonderful for sure, and no, but he's so distinctive to look at, but then it was so funny because when we went and had him neutered, like, they went to pick him up, and of course, no matter how many times we do it, I'm always stressed out, "Is he okay?" All that stuff,
Yeah,
and, like, I
worried.
go and they're like, "Who is Dewey's parent?" And I'm like,
That sounds accusatory.
"I know." I was like, "Oh god, did something happen? What's wrong?" I'm like, "Me?" They're like, "I'm sorry, you can't have him back, we're keeping him.
Oh,
He's the
I was like,
coolest cat we've
We
ever
will
met."
burn this motherfucker down. Give me my cat back."
I will break in here after hours if I need to.
Yes.
But, that's just how he's been from that early of an age, he's just
That's adorable.
different, you know?
Well, I bottle fed him. I mean, I literally fed like, he would chug that milk and then lick himself from, like, 2 weeks on,
Mhm,
and then, like, it would lay in my crook
and he
he's
was
like, "I'm
tiny.
your mom." Like,
Yeah.
I am yeah, so, I mean, it was this bond.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so horror books,
Oh, books? Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my gosh, we should, like, warn
that's what the
people, like,
pod
"Hey,
this
the beginning
is
of
what I
this is
always
all about
envisioned.
cats, deal with it."
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? To me, I always wanted this to just be a horror hangout, and we talk about the books and we do all these things, but it's like sometimes I think like for as heavy as things are right now, it's like it's just nice to have
To talk about some cats a little bit.
this. I liked when it used to be like a natural catter day. People would do their catter day, and some of these
Mhm.
bookstagram people that I listen to or look at put some really good cat content up. It just
It's
makes me
true.
happy. I need this
Mhm.
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh. You know what? We should bring back Catterday the way I
Right.
tried to bring back the side ponytail several years ago. I'll still do it. I don't
Y
care.
You know what? Work it. Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Don't tell
We're
me my
clearly
'80s fashion is no longer in. I
well,
don't wanna
I'll
hear
tell you
it.
Yep, we're 42, so we're right there with you, like,
My
we're
gosh, I'm 43. That's so fun.
Yep, so, like, '83. We are all about that
Yep.
time period, and
So, do
so
you guys remember so now I'm still derailing the horror talk, but
No,
do
you're
you
not. Keep going. This is your
do you
episode. Do what you want.
yeah.
people listening are gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want anything to do with this lady."
If they
But
don't
do
know
you
by now that this is what they get from us, then I don't know what to tell them.
they should
If you
listen to
want a
somebody
serious
else.
interview on technique, probably not.
There's
That's not
no,
there's other people. We never wanted to be that. I
no.
want people to like the author and enjoy them beyond the book plus their books.
Good point, good point. But I'm wondering if you all remember the neon sock craze?
Absolutely.
Of, like, you had to have neon socks with and sometimes you would do, like, 2 different colored neon socks.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
some of these phases and
Fashion.
trends that are coming back and I'm out like in the stores with the kids and like Francesca, our exchange student, tried to talk me into getting the scrunchy socks. And I was like, "I'm not doing it, Francesca." And she's like,
You're like,
"They're
"I've
so
been through
cute.
this
They're so
once."
cute." I'm like, "No, I can't. I can't do it."
No, I
Yes.
love that the neon socks kind of overlapped with that period when everyone had blacklight posters, and the
Yep.
neon socks with the blacklight, like,
Yeah.
they
Well,
look
the
like
the
your
cool
feet
kids.
are radiating.
Yes.
Love that.
Absolutely. I will still pinch roll some jeans if I want to. I don't care. I'll do it.
Yeah.
No
Well, what
fear.
was it? The mom jeans that came back? Like,
Yes,
that
they came back.
I was like, "Man, suddenly I am right back." Like, I'm like, "Let's go to Blockbuster, pick me up from school,
Yep.
get a personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut."
We were
Like,
just talking about those, I love to read, so this is kind of on topic. I loved to read as a
yes.
kid, you know? I think that's why all writers become writers. Like, there's no
Yep.
such thing as a writer who didn't like to read.
Not
But,
a
like so for me, it was just such a bonus, right? Like, so I can do what I wanna do anyway, but you're gonna give me a pizza for it? Yes, please.
So, I remember, like, we would get them through elementary school, but it was
Yep.
really once I hit middle school, our 6th grade teacher, like, we would, I forget how it was 10 books or something like that, that you have we would our middle school, we would go to this, like, arts school on Wednesday afternoons, and that was the one place where I would walk home from there instead of
Mhm.
taking, like, the metro bus or whatever,
Yep.
and that art school was less than a block away from the Pizza Hut,
Woo!
and every Wednesday, my entire 6th grade class basically would walk in with our personal pan pizza coupon,
And
and
we
you
all
could
like,
see,
"Oh."
the look on their face was like, "Oh, I didn't know, I forgot it was Wednesday, god damn it."
What a wonderful group of illiterate
I know!
children. No, that wasn't the
Yeah.
reaction.
Well, because it was always like, "Well, do you want a soda with that?" "No, I'm good." Like, "I just want the free pizza."
No. I have a coupon, and this is what I will be using it for, thank
Like,
you.
"Where do you think I'm getting money from, my
Yes.
friend? I am
Yes.
11, 12 years old."
It's so
It's
cute.
like, "Well, you can, if you want sausage, you can pay $1." I'm like, "Cheese is fine.
Yes.
Absolutely
Give
fine."
me my free pizza that I earned through reading.
Exactly, like, the number of Goosebumps books I read to get this pizza, come on. So, no, I love that.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
I babysat my nephews last weekend, and,
Mhm.
the four-year-old was like, "Aunt Becky." They call me Aunt Becky because Aunt Rebecca is much too tough,
Right,
for
sure.
little ones. So I am Aunt Becky to them, and he's like, "Aunt Becky, let's watch Goosebumps," and I was like, "Alright," and we were watching it, and I said, "Hey, do you know that Aunt Becky writes spooky stories?" And the way he looked at me, no one has ever looked at me like that before. No one has ever made me feel that way before. It was amazement, it was wonder, it was total admiration, and I was like, "Oh, you're my little Halloween boy," and
Amazing.
yes, it was like and he's like Goosebumps?" And I said, "Well, I got a couple like that, yeah," and he goes, "Why don't I have them?" And I said, "Well, buddy," I said, "The one that's like YA it's in an anthology that's very hard to say called George Water Tower and Other Childhood Terrors. And I said,
Ooh,
"It's for kids just a little bit bigger than you." I said, "So when you're older, I'll give you a copy." But it's such a fun anthology. So it's done by Water Tower Hill. And they invited all of us and they said, "Write us a story about your hometown." And so we got to like research our hometowns and we could like we could create new urban legends, we could, like, write about existing urban legends, and I'm, like, a research nerd, like, I love research, I love it. I
Yes.
will do so much research, like, all day, and I found out about a steamship that sunk off of our hometown in, like, the 1800s, and I wrote such a fun story about it called The
Ooh,
Missing 13, and so I gotta get my nephew a copy of that when he's a bit older,
Yes.
because he is
That's
literally 4. He
awesome.
doesn't need it quite yet.
And where roughly are you in the
In where am I, like, located
Yes,
geographically?
like, where was
I
that
am
hometown of the Maria?
I am near Buffalo, so no one
Okay.
okay.
knows, like, the name of my hometown, but I am on the shores of Lake Erie. I am from Silver Creek, which is down the road, and now my husband and I live in Dunkirk.
Okay,
But
Where
awesome.
were
we're
we
like
at off
we're
of Lake
like
Erie, did you
half
say?
We were in
It's
Ohio,
I know,
yeah.
but it
yeah,
was on Lake Erie.
Yeah, I was in
yeah.
this extremely haunted hotel that we
Woo!
were at.
I
Uh,
love that.
yeah, no, it was great, and it was weird because like, it was summertime, so I would have expected it to be busy, and there was maybe 3 people in the hotel, and I'm like, "Huh, there's gotta be some kinda reason for that," but we were on the way back from a book event, and Rebecca had never seen a Great Lake and had always wanted to, and I was like, "You know, it's only a couple hours out of the way, let's do it."
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Yes, Lake Erie is, like, 3 houses down from us.
That's so
There's,
cool.
there's
So we'll see
us.
you in the summer. Okay, see you
Yes.
Yes,
soon.
yes, there's a
I will
really
bring
nice
my
beach.
mastiff and we will road trip to you
Yes.
Hell
for a
yeah,
dog day.
there's a beach at the end of our street, like, if you just keep going down our road, sort of as the crow flies because there's a park in the way, but it's, like, our houses, like, our house and our neighbors' houses, and then a park, and then the beach, and then the lake,
Nice.
and there you are.
That's awesome. That's so
Yeah.
cool to do, like, a story like that, that you get to research that, and I'm interested to talk about some of the stories in the collection that I read and see if there's
Yes.
any basis of some things there, which is really
There
cool.
it is so, like, you could name a story, and I can tell you what's real about it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, okay,
Yes.
we'll get there very soon, but I wanted to touch on before I forget about it that, like, you came into our that we, found out about you, met you, all that kind of stuff through Stoker last year because you were on this amazing gothic heroine panel,
That panel
and,
was so
like
fun.
yes, and just everything you said, I was like, "I need to read everything by this person." Like, it
Thank you.
was amazing.
I
So
get
many cool
really, like,
things.
bossy on panels and just, like I'm like, "Let me tell you about this," and I go. And it was so much fun. We did New England Gothic, and we did Gothic heroines, and
Uh-huh.
then I also did a virtual panel last year on seances, and that was really fun too.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was great.
That is really cool.
I love it when they invite me to panels because 'cause I'm like, "Ooh, I'm gonna do so much research, it's gonna be so good."
Yeah, and was that
I
about,
love
like
it. They don't even know what the hell they got themselves
They
into.
kind of don't, because 'cause I'm like I'll be like, "On that." Okay, so it wasn't the Gothic heroine panel, it was the New England Gothic panel. I was like I hit them with statistics, and I don't think they were ready for that.
that is
It's
incredible.
like, "Let's talk about this."
It's like, listen, y'all done fucked up.
Yes, yes. If you didn't wanna talk about deforestation, you shouldn't have invited me, okay?
Love it. Look, these are important topics, and somebody has to do
Yes,
the research and be willing
yes.
to share it.
And it was, like, all connected, and my day job is that I teach college, and research is important, you know? We gotta
It
bring our
is.
Absolutely.
I
we
mean,
gotta
that's the
bring our
thing. Like,
credibility.
it's like crazy though. Like lately, just as an example, I love to go. I realize that the more niche the topic, the better. And so I really like that lately, like, because I have ADHD, I just really love
Me too!
reading.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
we have, like
assuming you
we're
do
t
because of your ability to pick up physical
like, I
things.
just assumed.
Yeah, I did.
I just
And,
assumed.
the thing is they have these little micro histories now of, like, for a lot of these books where, it's, like, on, like, the book that I got was rabies, you know, the history of rabies, just the history of, like, disease and how it has shaped the world or, like, I don't know. I mean, there's so many different ones that I wanna get or, the importance of the beaver in I'm like absolutely want to read this. I want to read this incredibly niche thing, and I love it. I guess it's just like absorbing all the trivial and steroids or whatever,
But
but
think that like writers need to know the details, right? Like for one story I wrote, and I'm sorry, it's not in The Hauntings Back Home, it's in 6 o'clock House and Other Strange Tales. But there's a story called Damp in the Walls, and there's a flood in it. Okay. My hometown flooded in nine, real bad. People died. And I
nice.
kind of needed like to know about those conditions. So on Facebook, I was like, hey, did anybody work for, like, the Department of Public Works or know someone who did during the 2009 flood? And this woman who I know through dog rescue was like, "My husband did. He worked for DPW." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, will he let me interview him?" He did. I talked to him for an hour about flooding stuff, like
Wow.
how much rain needs to fall, like, per square inch and, like, velocity of water and I paid him
Rebecca,
with a jar
let
of
me tell
homemade
you something.
pickles.
We could have the best time together. I'm telling you what, because recently, it was this summer, we're invited to our neighbor's party. I've never like, they're really like social people, and they're always like, "Hey, we're having a big get together with a bunch of friends. Do you want to come up?" And I always appreciate that. But most of the time, we're meeting their friends like brand new because they
Yep,
have like tons.
yep.
Mm. I ended up sitting talking to this guy all about how much everyone else is drunk as hell, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Tell me about your hauling. Really, you get pulled over for this? Well, how much weight is that? And how do you do
Yep.
this?" And
Yep.
I'm, like, into the weights and measures of how much he needs to haul, what is passable, and, like, "Oh, well, that now when I go past the weight station," I'm
That's all
like,
I think
"Okay."
about, yeah.
Yes, and I was like,
It's all
I
I
heard
think about.
and I'm like I'm grilling him as if, like, he's, like, this interview for, like
Yes, but it's so fun, and it's like,
and
it's so fun to know this.
he was like, "No one's ever really given a shit," and I was like, "I really this is really fast."
I was a reporter for a little bit for a small
I
town
bet you had
newspaper,
great skills.
and I would, like, deep dive into stuff, and I loved it because it's like, well, if I'm reporting on, like, a water filtration plant, and I'm reporting that they bought a new machine with taxpayer money, I'm researching what that machine does. You know? Like,
Yes.
I want to know because I want to explain it as part of this article, because if the news is that the taxpayers bought, you know, whatever new machinery, they deserve to know what that machinery does and, like, why it's important and why it's worth their money, you know? And I drove them nuts, these poor newspaper editors, because they would be like, "Rebecca, this article is 94 inches," which for a newspaper,
And
unheard of, unheard of. They would sometimes split my articles into multiple issues when they let me get away with it, but so
well,
often they'd be like, "Rebecca, you need to cut this out." And I'm like, "But it's fascinating." We had in a different story. Oh my gosh, where is that story? Okay, the story is called I'm totally blanking on my own story. It's about a reservoir.
oh my
Oh my gosh. I think it's in 6 o'clock House, but I, like, researched the heck out of this reservoir. I tracked people down to find out about a drowning that happened in the reservoir, and the only way I could do that was the newspaper had filing cabinets. So it was before things were digitized. And I said, "Well, how do I find out about a drowning at the reservoir?" And my boss was like, "Well, you look in the filing cabinets." And I said, "How are they organized?" And he said, "I don't know." He said, "People filed, looks, they cut articles out and filed them according to their personal thoughts." So
My god.
he said, "Check R for reservoir, check D for drowning, check B for boat, check F for fishing, check H for Hanover." Like, it was the biggest haystack, and I loved every second of it.
That's incredible. I love that. Well, it's funny because, when you read these stories, you obviously don't get all of that, just the tip of some of that, but there definitely is a sense of place and knowing that I think comes through from all of that, research, and and, it makes for some damn good stories when you
Well,
talk to
thank you.
people too, so, I love that.
Yes, yes. One that is in Hauntings Back Home is The One That Got Away.
Yes.
I did so much research for that because I was like, I need to learn about fjords. I need to learn about Canadian fjords, and I need to learn about, like, Canadian dialect, and I need to know about fishing boats and etcetera. And so just on and on.
Well, I love that, and I think
You
the
know
cr
who else loves research this much is Rebecca
Roland.
Rowland,
Yeah.
where she's like, "Oh, I'm a deep." Not I don't know if anyone loves it as much as you do,
Yeah.
honestly, you're I
A
think
true delight, yes.
Rebecca, um, Rowland, she it will, like, irk the hell out of her, like, she has to have it precise, but I
Yeah,
think, like, for
Yes.
you, it's like
true joy.
yes,
It is joy, but it's also like I tell my students because I teach creative writing, and I tell them, like, the research is important because somebody knows.
that's what
Okay?
we talked about with her, it's like, she's like,
Yes.
There's gonna be that one damn Goodreads review that says, "Well,
Yes.
actually, fjords, if you were really in the"
well,
Yes.
I read this one book, and it's just a regular, historical fiction, it was the,
Briar Club.
Briar Club. I loved it, and I was like, "Adam, will you read this?" And he was like, "I didn't like it." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "It was all wrong about DC. That did not happen. That didn't exist. I lived there."
Yeah.
And it was in
Yes.
the details that it ruined it
Mhm.
for him.
Yeah, I just
Yes.
couldn't get into it.
And because
I
I didn't
I
know
had a
any better,
whole
I'm like, "This is great," and it ruined it for
no, a whole movie was ruined for me because it was historical, and they showed the back of a little girl's dress, which, by the way, they didn't need to do. Just pick a different shot,
Mhm.
and it showed a zipper, and I was like, "Nope, they did not have zippers back
Oh
then."
my god. I
And it
love it.
ruined everything. It ruined the
I
whole thing,
love
and I
that.
was like, "Could you really not look that up and get a damn dress with buttons?" You know?
See, they don't
It
count.
ruined everything.
What was the thing that you told me that I always like to do in movies where I look to, like
The continuity errors,
yes,
yeah.
I'm always the person that picks up on the continuity errors. I'm like, "Wait, wait, hold on."
"Wait, that glass was empty, now it's full again,"
Yeah,
you
or
know?
her
Yep.
hair was here, she was
Yes.
like, yeah,
Yes.
I
Yep.
it picks up on the pattern recognition.
But those things matter, and I tell my
You do?
students, like, I can't stand and I'm an editor as well. I'm the editor-in-chief of Undertaker Books, okay? So I edit stuff,
Okay.
and I'm like, "We gotta stop teleporting people." It's like so somebody will be sitting on the couch, and then they'll walk out the door, and I'm like, "When did they get up?"
We've gotta stop teleporting people. No, I genuinely feel like that's because I think people are trying to keep the pace going. I could think of a
Right.
couple books
Right.
like
But
that.
I say it's 2 words, Sorry, 3 words. She got up and, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Like,
Yes.
she's gotta stand, people. She can't teleport to the doorway.
I teach 5th grade, and we're writing a story right now
Oh
for
god.
science, but it has to have to do with natural disasters, but that doesn't have anything to do with what I'm saying, but the one story I got in there, I was like, "Okay, did you, like, double check this? Did you read this to somebody?" All like, "Yep, absolutely." I open up the story to read with the student. The opening line is, "He went to the store." And I'm like,
Buddy.
"Who? How'd he get there? What store is he going to?" And there's
Yes.
like, "Well, it's this guy, and he's going to this store." It's like, "How will I know that? It's in your head.
Mhm.
I'm not in
Yep.
there." Like, and
Yep.
it's just like, "Wait, what's wrong with that?" It's like,
I thought you were gonna say the other story you told me today.
"Oh god."
I feel like that's it's worth Rebecca would like this.
Yeah,
Sure, I
so,
would. Tell me.
well, I have a student that he just immigrated from Nigeria and speaks English wonderfully and everything, but, they have different they don't understand some of the slang that we might have here, and
Yep.
so in the same story, well, actually, we were talking about storm chasers, and they had an assignment where they had to kind of explain why storm chasing is a good thing, why it would be a bad thing, was it a mix or whatever, and he's like, "Well, it is really dangerous." I was like, "Yeah, so tell me more about that." He's like, "Well, if someone's in the car, it might come over and suck them off."
And you're like, "Oh, bud. Oh, we gotta change this. We gotta change the way you say this."
Yeah.
See?
I was like, I hear what you're saying. Let's just put it a different way, and don't say that to anyone else here that they can hear it, because we probably won't get much done the rest of the day if they hear you say that."
Yes, yes. Oh gosh. I don't think I could, like, stop from cracking up, like, when kids say things like that, and they don't really, like they say things so innocently, they don't know. But
Absolutely.
I I
Yeah, I
would
hear a
die
lot of things.
laughing. That's why I can't teach anybody who's, like, below college age because I can't behave.
Well, the amount of stuff that I have to use for, like, when you're saying doing the research and the trivia, it really does pay off in my sales job because being able to have the versatility to talk to anyone about anything, create
So
immediate
many different
rapport
things.
and the in-depths or, that and that general curiosity, like, it just prevails. Like, it helps you to be able to pivot
Mhm.
Yeah.
and dodge and weave and all that. So, I
Yeah.
mean, to me, it's like, "Hey, I read this in this book." I don't need to necessarily say that, but it's like, "Oh, this
Mhm.
relate," would you say this is impactful or, or it
Yes.
just it's it always end up using it all, so
What she's saying is at some point, your deep-rooted fjord knowledge is going
this is
to
what I was gonna
come
say. I was like, at some point, I'm like, "Did
Yes.
you know about the ice pick
for,
surgeon?"
Frozen 3, they're gonna call on you to talk about the fjords. You're gonna get a
Yes.
hefty payday.
And I will
Somebody's
say
gotta
my
be the expert,
favorite.
Adam. And you're talking shit, but you're the number one person that will not say anything unless you know it's correct.
No, I can't.
Like,
That's probably some other
I
kind of
never
mental
people are
illness that
like,
causes that.
let me fact check or Google that." Like, I can count I think we might in 20 years, I think I might be up to 10 things that I've known that you haven't, maybe that I've ever surprised you with.
It's just so funny because
And
'cause you'll
I'd say
be
once a week with you. I'm like, "Huh, interesting." And I read all the time. Like,
you'll be making an Instagram post and you'll say, "Hey, what's the name of that book?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I think it's this." And you're like, "Okay, let me post this." I'm like, "Whoa, wait, you need to research
Yeah.
that. You need to
Yes.
like,
he
Yes.
is my research.
yeah." I'm like, "Hold on, let me check."
We
Yeah.
so at Undertaker, I'm like the editor in chief, but we don't like we have like a very sort of like, I don't know if strict is the right word, kind of. Like we don't do lackadaisical editing, you know? Like we have like a whole system and stuff. So like I will edit something and then DL Winchester, he's he's going to edit it again. So like we
Mhm.
edit, it goes back to the author, then it goes to him, and he has like, I don't want to say weird bad, it's weird wonderful. He just knows so much stuff. And like he's sort of like an amateur historian,
Yeah.
but he knows about guns, he knows about, I don't know, just everything, right? Like this steam trains. This one time we did a book and he like told the author, he's like, "You're describing an English train carriage, but it would have been a mirror." Like who knows that? Well, I tell you who does. DL Winchester does. He just knows
That's
all of it.
awesome.
And like
Man,
he will catch that stuff. Like so I'm like the grammar nerd and stuff, but when it comes to just like what gun can do what thing, like historical gun. I'm not even talking about like new guns. Like, he'll just tell you about a gun from the 1800s, and he knows how it operated and all of that. It's
that's
amazing.
insane. That's
Mhm.
really cool.
Yep.
I love that. So I have to ask, I talked about the haunted hotel we stayed at
Yep.
by Lake Erie. Is the Sabine based on a real place?
The Sabine is based on information that is real, but
Okay.
not at a hotel I have been to. The sort of so you won't really find this in any modern hotels, you know? But old hotels did used to have pools in their basements. Like, that's where they put them, which to me
Well,
is
Kind
sort
of
of
wild
wild.
instead of on the roof.
all I could picture
Yes.
is, Cat People. I don't know if you've seen the
Yes,
original
yes, yes,
Cat
yes, yes.
People with the basement pool, that very
Yes.
famous scene. That's all I could think of.
But, like, it seems so subterranean and, like, not
Yes.
not of our world. You know what I
Right.
mean? To
Yeah.
have hotel pools in the basement, but, like, that was not an uncommon thing. And so, uh, I don't know, who doesn't love a haunted hotel, you know?
Yes.
But I was just very fixated on this idea of someone who keeps getting lured to the basement, and it's not a regular basement, right? Like, it is a pool in the basement.
Mhm. No, that's great. It was like it had this very, like, not repetitive, but this, like, okay, each time it gets worse,
Yes,
a little
yes,
worse each night. It's like, a lot of students love those Five Nights at Freddy's, and I was
yeah.
like, that's what, like, this kind of reminded me of, like, but, like, escalated times 10, kind of thing.
Yes, and I was gonna say that one of my favorite kinds of research is just talking to people who know stuff, you know?
Yes.
And so, like, my dad was a security guard, and that's how I knew the way they worked, right? Like the way they sort of do rounds and then they have, like, this downtime and
Mhm.
all of this other stuff, and how often they're sort of responsible for their own equipment if it's anything beyond the basics.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
yeah, so like Manny is his own character, but very much, influenced by the information that I had from my father and just like weird info about hotel pool basements.
Yeah, that's so cool. My best friend's dad was an actor, and he was, like, a stage actor, so he had all kinds of weird jobs all the time, and the one that he would tell us about was basically security at, like, the morgue in the hospital, and then, like, overnight,
Yeah.
and aside from, like, the rare times that, somebody was brought in at that time, he said, like, after the first, I don't know, month or so, it was just boring.
Yes.
And it's like, all these things that you're like, "This gotta be so creepy." He's like, "No," and this was, like, the '80s, so he's not on his phone. He's like he has a radio, and that's about it,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know? So, like, he would, like, practice his lines, out loud because no one's
Yeah.
listening. So, and stuff, but it's like, yeah, that just reminds me, it's like, that's you think about it, but it's like everything can become normalized when you do it enough, right?
Yes. Yes. Also, when I was talking about DL Winchester, he's also a retired mortician, which is why Undertaker Books is called Undertaker Books.
Amazing.
That's
And
awesome.
so like he knows again, he just knows the weirdest stuff. Like he knows medical stuff, he knows anatomical stuff, he knows a lot about like contract law. And I don't know, he's just this like amazing font of weird information that regular people would not know.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. And well, thinking about it's such a cool concept, suffer with the trees, which is kind of like this portal
Like,
to this like evil orchard, essentially.
I cannot tell you how much research I did for that and how
Well,
much
I
I
was gonna say this
added.
whole
I had
New
to take it
Deal,
out. Yes.
yes, thing that you were talking about with like the way the farmers were done this, and I was like, this is freaking fascinating. I love this.
Such a deep dive, and I had to pull it back because it was, like, too much. It was too much information, but that was so fun to learn about, and I also had to learn about the way things decay,
Yes.
That particular type of respiration that kind of holds things in a weird state of neither one nor the other, this cellular respiration thing, so,
Yes.
so fun.
No, that's
I
so
did
cool, and I just love how Charlotte I almost feel like you're like, "Okay, are people gonna feel this way?" Because Charlotte's kinda like, "Okay, like, why are you telling me this?"
Yes, yes.
Which was so funny, but, like, at the same time, I was like, "But no, this really has to do with things, it's so cool," but then it's, like, also this incredible, like, weird dark fantasy, alive trees story with this huge, like, lesson about, like, how farmers were kind of,
Screwed over in the
screwed
New
over.
Deal, yes. Yes. Oh
So
god.
good.
I love for the story Dampen the Walls, so that was the one that I talked to Jake for an hour about and paid him in pickles because I make
Yes.
pickles, and, I also so one of my friends is an ER doctor, so just, like, I love how out of the blue, I can just message her name's Julie, and be like, "Julie, how long would it take a man to die in floodwaters if he had a compound fracture, et cetera," and, like, she'll just give me the answer. Like, she does not question, she doesn't ask me what I'm doing or why, she'll just give me the answer.
"Hey,
And then,
Rebecca,
like
what's the thing you wanna know
yes,
about today?"
yes,
"Absolutely,
like,
no problem."
what absolutely bizarre thing. And then same story, I called my best friend and I was like, because she was pregnant at the time on her 2nd kid, and I have never been pregnant, I don't have children, I don't know about this stuff. So I just grilled her about, like, pregnancy and, like, doctor's appointments and sort of what happens at those doctor's appointments. And then I called my dad, who worked in construction as a young man, and I'm grilling him about fieldstone basements, you know?
Hell yeah, and, like, the
And
radon and all that.
it was just like person after person who I got to talk to about a thing they knew about, and then that thing helped my story be better, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like information that is relevant even in ways that the reader wouldn't even know, you know?
Yeah. One time you should ask that ER friend a really horrific question, and after she answers it, just go, "This isn't for a story," and hang
Yeah.
up.
Julie, sorry.
See what
You have
happens next time she answers.
you're now an accessory, thank you.
I love it.
If
She
someone
probably would
calls and
not
asks
care.
where I was right now, tell them I was with you.
Yeah, she wouldn't even mind. She's one of, like, my ride or die shelter people, like, we used to be on the
Yes,
committee together when we were on the dog committee. I could send out an alarm to those 5 women, it was 6 women, okay, at the time, for years, and I could be like, "I've got a dog who needs help, blah, blah, blah," and I would have 3 people just, like, on a Sunday roll in and be like, "Let's go."
amazing.
Yes, she was one
That's
of
what we
them.
need. We need more of that
Yep,
energy. One thing that also brought something back, I grew up directly next to a cemetery, and so my bedroom window was on the ground floor, and when I looked outside, it was essentially this sort of grove, this area of the cemetery that is in Rockabye. It was all children and babies'
yep,
graves, and it had these
yep,
angels, and they
yep,
were these tiny little things, and all of them had, whatever year, it was like 1912 to
yeah,
1912, or
yep,
just had the 1 year, and
yep,
things, and that always, it was obviously waking up and looking outside, it's kinda creepy, but at the same time, it was like these were just the most beautiful monuments and testament, to these children that really did not live maybe at all, really, like, I don't you don't really know the stories, and so that just kinda brought back a lot of memories of childhood, and it's just wondering again, like,
yep. There is a
is that normal
cemetery.
for these types of, like, cemeteries to have areas
Yeah,
specifically for that? Okay.
absolutely. So I grew up down the street, down the road from a place, well, it's kind of 2 cemeteries because it's the old Glenwood Cemetery, and then the church cemetery sort of takes over, at some point there.
Mhm.
And there is definitely a sort of, it's almost like this baby grove, like a grove of baby graves.
Yeah.
And they're sprinkled throughout as well, but so much of, like, my work is just based on people and places I know, and Rockabye is kind of based on the cemetery I grew up in and where my mom died when I was a kid, and she ended up there too. So it's been like this, like, that cemetery has had a presence in my life for my entire life. It's where we
Mm.
learned to ride bikes as kids. My
Wow.
dad would take us there.
That's
It's where
awesome.
he taught us how to drive there because it was relatively
That
safe
is
and
a safe
slow.
place to do that. Yeah.
And then,
Tight
we would just
turns,
go
you take those
exploring
shortcuts.
there, and then my mom ended up there, and it's just like, I don't know. It's always been in my life, in one way or another. And it's in actually several stories that, I
Okay.
might not always call it the same thing, but it
Mhm.
is that cemetery.
Yeah, it's like cemeteries have always been similarly comforting to me for that, but also, like, where I grew up, my dad was the caretaker of, like, this estate for rich people, and we lived next to this cemetery, which was a cemetery for rich people, and then we were, like, really close friends with the family that were the caretaker of the cemetery, so we would always go back and forth for, like, cookouts and different things, and similarly, like, one of the first places that I drove was in the cemetery, and then also one of my favorite things that the father would do is when we were leaving and it was the house that they lived in was at the edge of the cemetery, as far away from our house as possible, but it was still maybe a block away. Like, it was not a long walk. But he would always be like, "Oh, let me drive you home, like, it's no big deal." And then he'd drive us completely through the entire cemetery pitch black at night, and, like, so it was just, like but it was always so much fun at the same time too, you
Yep.
know? So, like, yeah, definitely fond memories, and that's really cool to know. They are such just, like I know, Rebecca, you've talked about this before of how cemeteries used to be this very, like, communal place where
Yep.
people would come and picnic with their, family members that had passed and
Yeah, I learned
everything.
that when I was touring up in, Sleepy Hollow,
Mhm.
uh, Cemetery, which is one of my absolute.
The
It's
Gorgeous
beautiful.
Cemetery.
I got to go there a couple years ago, and it was so awesome.
It's just like, I know it's like graves all around, but you don't think of that. It's like one of them, like, the vibes are just,
So
you
peaceful.
might as well think
Yep.
you just, like, lit an incense stick of just, like,
Mhm.
feel chill.
It's like
Like,
your favorite park.
it
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
It
Yes.
is. It's just so beautifully, and it's just, I don't know, the people that are buried there, luckily, like, I feel like they've got a, it almost feels like everyone's just at peace, I
Yeah.
guess is what I'm saying.
When we were there, so my niece was getting married nearby, And so, like, my whole family basically just, like, went there for a day, and I'm one of 6 kids, and everyone except for 1 brother was there. People brought their kids, and that was really fun. My husband and I were there, and my dad loved it because, like, my dad loves history stuff, and one thing that was kind of awesome there, aside from just, like, the place is so great, is a hawk just came and landed on a grave, like, 10 feet from us and just hung out for a while. And it was so neat, like, he wasn't scared, he or she, they were not scared, they just hung out, and, like, you could tell they I won't say you could tell, it seemed like they liked being admired. It seemed like that hawk was posing regally for us to take pictures, which we, of course, did.
Well, all I can think about, I don't know if you've read it, but The Crow in A Fine and Private Place that, birds in the cemetery, there's a certain thing there that's really cool.
It's, like, key to the story, and it's such a main character, and he
Mhm.
has to, like, leave this agoraphobic or feed this agoraphobic man that will not
Leave the
leave the
cemetery, yeah.
cemetery, and he's like this crow's like, "Yeah, I picked you up this sandwich today," and did and it's just it's, like, not done in a silly, funny way, though,
Right.
but it's like the
Yep.
crow's the outside messenger,
Yeah.
Contact. Yep.
delivery person and everything, but I don't know, I have a fascination too with the magpies and
Yeah.
crows,
Yeah.
any corvids, all of those
Yeah,
things.
the hawks we have a hawk at the school where I work that just hangs out, like, and you hear it all the time, and
You
it's
should
just
start bringing him
hanging.
gifts.
Yeah, but yeah, they're so fascinating, like, just as creatures,
All the
so
birds like that are.
mhm,
I really wanna start attracting some crows and giving them gifts,
yeah,
and I love all
getting
of
some
that.
trinkets from them, yeah,
Yeah.
It's like I mean, if they wanna bring me some, that's fine, but it's more about I just wanna take care of them and,
yeah,
like, because I just
they're so interesting. They're
it's
so
like
smart.
I'm watching how, like where it's like, in The Raven where it's like, okay, after watching videos of ravens, how much they can imitate and mimic the voice, and they're
Mhm,
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I really do believe that
it said nevermore, yeah,
yeah, that he
Yep.
really did say that."
Yes. Yep.
It's like, okay, you know?
yeah,
And that they can remember faces and teach their children
Yep.
right.
those faces. So, like, if you're hated, you are hated for
Did you see the one person that's training people to pick off red hats?
Oh,
Feel
no,
yeah,
you know, you're just out here doing good work.
just doing
I
Need
can
just
get
anybody
behind
that
yeah,
has a
doing the
cherry
Lord's
red
work.
hat to,
the crows are
Yeah,
coming to
say
identify.
get them.
goodbye.
That's
You're
the
losing
kind of
that.
pettiness, like, generations of pettiness that I can get behind right there.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes pettiness is just so funny.
It is, and
Like,
they
it's
for to be that petty towards someone, they probably deserve it. Almost
also
always.
one of the thing I love about, like, petty revenge is that, like, often the person doesn't even realize, like, they're the victim of it. Like, it's so small, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, people do not know that they're getting, I don't know, punked in some way, right? Like, no one notices except the person getting the petty revenge, but that's, like, the joy of it.
Well, here's the thing. Number 1, it was an interview that I watched with Megan McCarthy years ago
Melissa
Melissa
McCarthy.
McCarthy years ago about how she just loved getting random weird shit from the thrift
Going
store
yes.
and then, like, dropping it on someone's front porch. And I know everyone would be like, "It was probably Rebecca who did it," you know? So now I've adopted, like, I wanna pick up the weird thrift items and then just leave it in their house, like, that they discover it a little later.
On their
Yep.
mantle with next to a
Yeah,
different thing.
definitely. I'm like, "No, that's always been there. I don't know what you're talking about."
Mhm. Wanted to ask you about that actually.
Yeah, I feel like that's just it might be a long play to get there, but
Mhm.
the other thing is
So
I was
worth it,
being
though.
haunted by the fact that whenever we got these Easter baskets, it was
Ugh,
always like the Easter grass. I would find it, and I'm like, "We have not had Easter grass."
we'd be wrapping presents and Easter grass would show up
It's like,
somewhere
how? Right? Like,
for
I could
Christmas.
yes, and then it was like raffia because someone put that, which is kinda like the Easter grass, right? So, Donna Taylor just sent us some boxes, and she had raffia in it, and I was like, "Oh, my youngest daughter is getting this because she hates it as much as I do."
Yep, put it in the
And she's at this age where she's like, "Mom, you need to ask to use my things." I'm like, "But you never ask to use my things, like, ever."
Yes. Yes.
Today, I went to use that fat lip oil, because my lips were dry, and I was like, I know she took my oil. She went into the downstairs bathroom where I keep it, took my oil. So I text her while she's at school. She walks in the door. I'm like, "Where's my oil?" She's like, "Yeah, it's in my pocket." And I was like, I said, "You know when I got a bunch of raffia given to me?" And she's like, I'm throwing hands. I'm like, I was about to put it in your bed, but she's getting it. It's gonna show up in her
In the
backpack.
weirdest
And
places.
yes, it's like the number it's gonna be so
Stuff it
much
in her
fun.
AirPods case.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it given right back to me, but you know what? It's
It's
worth
worth it.
it. It's so worth it to
For
just tear 'em.
years, my sister and I hid this creepy, we used to call it bear baby or baby bear. It was like a doll's face on a teddy bear, so I think the effect was supposed to
Wait a
be
minute, a
like,
doll's face on a no.
yeah,
This is the
like I
type
think,
of thing Adam would collect.
well,
I love it.
it was supposed to, I think, look like a baby was wearing a bear outfit, but it was just, like, creepy and weird and
Yep.
wrong looking, and so we used to hide it in each other's houses, and, like, sometimes it would take a year to find it, and the creepy thing is neither of us know where it went. Like, we don't
I
know
love
who had
that.
it last, we don't know, we've both
One day.
moved several times, and, like, I'm not convinced that one of us is not one day gonna find baby bear hiding.
I really love this, and my best friend, like, her mom and her uncle, they had this thing called Jody the Pink Ass Pig, and they've lived, states apart, and whenever they get together, they know Jody is gonna show up somewhere, and they'll string it up outside the window, or they did things before each other got married with it, but
I
the
love that.
the the type of just, like, we would do that for a little bit. We were throwing doll baby heads in people's car.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
We need to listen. I need more joy in my life
Yeah.
again, and I'm like,
Well,
why did we stop this?
it's funny because it's obviously like it escalates significantly and it's not I'm just
It's
thinking
true.
about
It's true.
I'm thinking about Mrs. Anderson because that's in a way what's
Yeah,
happening, right? That
yeah,
she's like
yep,
because it's not like there's no real danger to her necessarily, but it's like
yeah.
every now and again it's like fuck you. Fuck you.
Yes, yes! Just like the
I,
petty
yeah,
revenge she can take, you know?
yes, I love that. And it's like, it's stuff that it's like it's just annoying enough to be like, "Can you fucking stop?"
Yeah. Yep.
So
Oh,
that's just so good.
I know when I enter into this, I'm gonna be in deep shit doing this.
Oh, yeah.
She's gonna take it way too far, and I'll have to follow up to everybody that
Yes.
listens, update on
Yes.
the poor
And
decision making with my 13-year-old
you have to
revenge.
promise us, Rebecca, too, that if that baby bear ever
It's
comes up, no matter when it
I will
is, you have
notify
to let
you.
us know.
I'll get
Yes,
photographic evidence as well.
absolutely. I love that.
photographic. I have to see if I can get my best friend to send a picture of Jody the pink ass pig
Yeah.
because I mean it's one of those things that she talked about how they woke up at the cottage that they went to and they open up the blinds in the morning and there's Jody just
Oh,
fly like string and I'm like I love this like this is my sense of humor.
That is
yep,
great. And what other thing that I really love in this collection, and I don't know if you do this in other ones, is that, like, there's these mixed in, like, really, like, super short stories.
yep.
And it feels almost like those stories specifically, especially, feel like grown up adult scary stories to tell in the dark, you know?
I well, I am, so first of all, sometimes they're just so fun to write, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, Let the Black Dog In, that
Mhm.
is, it's this sort of living metaphor, you know?
Yes.
And it didn't need a whole story, Like, the image was the story.
Mhm.
And so it's enough, but I also think that, or at least for me, I don't just need variety of, like, tone and character, but also when I'm reading something, I do need a little variety of length. Like,
Yes.
if, a 20-page short story is fine and I'm super engaged, but sometimes it's really nice to be like, "Oh, okay, and now it's a flash piece," you know?
Yeah.
That is true.
Well, Dead Man's Pie is so much fun,
Thank you.
and gross, and I love that, but I think the ghost in the gas station bathroom, like, is that
Yeah,
perfect, like, feels like an urban legend, you know,
yeah,
tragic, like, awesome, like, this mystery, and I love those sort of ghost stories, hopefully this doesn't spoil too much, but it's almost like you're getting a glimpse of a future ghost story, right?
yep.
And just so cool in that moment you realize what's happening where you go, "Shit." That's such
Well,
a great, like, thing.
my, like, writing bestie is Jonathan Gensler. I don't know if
Mhm.
you all know
John
John. He
Gensler,
is
yeah.
oh god, he's such a good writer, but he's also
He's
just a
one of the
really great
people that
friend.
told us one of the craziest ghost stories.
Yes, and there it was probably true too.
It was, the one that was up at the
At horror
yeah,
the one about
yeah.
the
The ball
citadel, or the
the
on the bridge.
yes.
Oh my god, what a story that was.
He's so good, and by the way, I don't know if you know this about him, but he just, like, wild things happen to him, and from another person, you would think it was made up, but, like, his integrity is just, like, unquestionable. He lived in a haunted house. When he was a paper boy, he saved someone from a house fire. When he was a little bit older, his friends crashed ahead of him and he saved somebody's life with like first aid on like a compound fractured leg and they were like bleeding out and stuff. And that is just like a freaking day of the week for Jonathan
Yeah,
Gensler. Do you know what I mean?
okay, well, the story he said was that basically he was at the Marine Corps ball, uh,
Which happened to be at the same inn where
the exact
Horror
same in which he
Reader
had, like
Yep.
Weekend was happening,
Yep.
and
he had,
yeah,
like,
Yep.
blocked it out and forgot, and then he got there and he's like, "I feel like I've been here before," and then it, like, all came flooding back to him, and so they always, I guess, have a party, like, it's 100 days or whatever before graduation for West Point and whatever. So it was
that's
this
what his West Point, yeah.
yes, it was, and so he ends up everyone's dressed in this black tie, regalia, and he said, like, this one couple ends up, like, having this argument, and
Super awkward, embarrassing
yes,
fight,
like,
yeah.
everybody's seeing it. It's a very, like, knockdown, drag out fight, whatever, and the girl's like, "I'm leaving," and she goes and, like or, like, I guess she doesn't say she's leaving, I'm screwing this up, but basically
She walks out, yeah,
yes, and no one can find her. Like, she is missing, like, no one knows if she
like,
drove.
ever again.
Yes, no one knows if she's driven away, what happened, like, but this lodge that we were in for Horror Reader Weekend, we're at, like, the top of a mountain, like, there's nothing around here at all, and, so John basically was saying that he lived around there because he's going to the West Point which is right close to this lodge, and he's, like he's driving across the bridge, and he sees this woman, like, sees the full image of her, and he goes to try to stop, and he can't, like, connect with her in time, so then it ends up happening another time, and this time he's able to stop and get out and basically connects with her, and he's like she is crying, and he's just, like, says, like, "It's okay, like, you're not at fault," and I think there were parts that he didn't wanna share with the whole group, but, just of the whole background of why he was connected to this. But this whole weekend, we've been down in the lowest part of the basement, and it's, like, Ryan LaSala and, Sam Rebelline and just, like, Ricky Godwin, and I'm trying to think of these other authors that are and, they're using the dowsing rods, and they're asking these questions, and they're trying to Bridget Rose has this little device that's, like, trying to get it's like a what is it called? A speaker box or whatever, but she's
Yeah,
using it on her
spirit
phone
box,
spirit
yeah.
box on her phone, and right before we went and did all this was when John told this story.
But you didn't tell the craziest part that when
Ho
he
ho
got to her, okay.
okay, you can tell it part, and then I'll go on with the next thing. Go ahead.
Well, when he went to touch her, the next thing he woke up, like, 2 days later,
Yes.
and, like, he has no memory of how he drove home,
Yes.
like, any of that kinda stuff, and he's just, like, at home, and it's like that like, he has no idea how he got from the bridge back to his house.
So,
Yeah.
the night before was when we told all those we told all the or we were, like, trying to do the ghost hunting. So then it was like the second night, they were like, "Let's go ghost hunting again." And this time we're gonna go out and we're gonna
Outside, yeah.
walk the mountain and take all these same items. Well, John was there and they ended up all of a sudden on Bridget's speaker box, it was like, "John, John," and just started talking to him of like, "It's okay, it's not your fault," and so creepy. So when you're saying like the weird shit happens to him, so
Yep.
I guess he has a story up there. We were trying to find it of, like, an actual, like, ruins that had, down
Oh,
I
the
d
town, yeah,
yes,
the
and
town
we
that
we
had
d
been
we
there,
got
yeah.
lost, we couldn't find it, but look, John needs to tell the story better, but I was like, "Whoa." But he had forgotten, like Adam said, like, he was like he touched her, and then he was like he woke up, he doesn't know what happened, where he
Mhm.
what yes.
Yeah, he just has like a million of these stories and again, like he's my buddy. I've known him for years and he is not lying. you know?
And
Like,
he lived in, what? In, not Australia, but
so I jokingly, like, call him Batman
New
because
Zealand.
he was in the military
That's what it
Yeah.
was. He
and
said when he got back from his tour of duty, he needed to, like, decompress from America for a little, and I was like,
yeah,
"Understood."
but, like, he's been everywhere. He just knows so much and has had, like, so many weird experiences, and again, like, with somebody else, I might doubt it. With him, I don't.
Well, you know what? I already enjoyed him so much, but now I need to, like, go poke and prod at him and be like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he
If
closes
you
this collection out with an excellent story, too,
Yes,
so
yes, yes. He
yeah.
like and I've wanted to I had wanted to do a project with him forever, and I still hope that we get to, do cool projects in the future. But I loved that he was willing to do this, and we read each other's work a lot, like, we're often sort of like the first readers of new stories and stuff. And I loved One Red Glove so much, and I was like, "John, I want that one for, like, my book." Like, "Will you do this with me? Will you write the foreword? Will you do, like, the lucky 13th story?" But I thought it was tonally, it fit so well.
I think that's such an awesome idea. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, if, in someone's story collection to say, like, "I want another voice in here." I thought that was such a cool, like, touch.
Thank you. Well, and it's and I have to say that that was through Undertaker Books, and I that's my press, that I do with 2 partners, and this story collection originally was gonna come out with another press, okay? This was years ago, and that press folded, uh, and it, like, kinda went down in a bit of a mess, and so I had this available, and I just had I was writing other things, and so when my partners, Cyan LeBlanc and DL Winchester, they were like, "We'll publish it," and so I was like, "I can," like, not to sound like, you know, a rebel or whatever, but I was like, "I can do whatever I want?"
Yeah.
And so I honestly don't know if that would have been okay, with other presses, but it was so much fun to be able to do a project with one of my buddies.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Well, I'm definitely gonna be picking up The 6 O'Clock House for
Thank
sure and
you,
reading
thank you.
that immediately,
Yeah, there are a lot of
but
ghosts in that one too, because like, ghosts are my jam.
well, I have to
Yeah.
read this
That's
flooding
what
story.
Adam's thing is, though.
Yeah.
That's his he's always interested in a
Yes,
ghost.
ghosts are my favorite, but I have to read this flood story now. You've got
Mm.
me so interested.
It was so
Um
much fun to write. And it was the only one of the only stories I've ever written, and I know that this I don't mean this literally, of course, but, like, it sort of felt like it wrote itself. Like,
mm,
very so often I'll just start a story and I don't know where the hell it's going. Ghost in the gas station bathroom. I told Johnny, I was like, "I wanna write a story about a ghost in a gas station bathroom," and, like, the title was almost like a joke at first between us, and then it just became the real title. But hang on, I just lost my train of thought absolutely and completely.
flood
What were we
story
talking?
writing itself.
Flood story writing itself. So I just start a story and it goes where it goes, and I revise it and whatever happens, happens, and I'm willing to just sort of like follow that path that I don't know. But with this one, it was like I could see the whole story at once. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like I could see the whole scope of it. Like it was almost like getting a long view of the story, and that never happens for me.
that's awesome.
And
That's
that one
great.
it did. So it was really fun
Very
to write
cool.
because it was like I was just like following a trail that somebody else had, like, laid out for me, but nobody did. It was just my brain, like, figuring something out
That's
before I
great.
realized it
That's
figured it out.
great.
Yeah.
So, maybe that that doesn't happen very often, but maybe again.
Yeah,
I hope so, because it was obviously, like, there's effort in it, right? I did a ton of research, but, like, there was a
yeah,
sort of effortless feeling to, like, I know where this is going. I know what this is. I know what this is doing. I know all the pieces of this. I just have to put them down.
yes, yes, very cool. So, what do we have to look forward to, coming soon from you?
Okay, so on the books, like
Yes.
like like it is scheduled, is a new poetry collection. So the same conference I went to where I had my head split open and wore
Yeah.
hats all weekend, and people were like, "Oh, you should like become
Stapleton.
a hat person," and I'm like, "I can't commit to the hats." Like that's a commitment I can't make. But at that conference, I went to a bunch of really awesome workshops, and I took my out to dinner at the Mexican restaurant like around the corner.
That was nice
And
of
I just,
yourself.
like it was, and I just sat there and, like, drank a margarita and ate my dinner and wrote a bunch of poems, and I already had some, and I realized that, like, I had this sort of collection forming of, like, fairy tale and folklore-based poetry, and so I kind of kept adding to it and started, like, kind of, like, searching around for, like, what, because it's honestly kinda hard to find poetry publishers, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm always, like, looking to work with new publishers, like, that's always fun, and it's kind of a challenge, right? Like, because I love my existing publishers, and I would certainly publish, other stuff, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know what it is, right? It's sort of like a new challenge or, like, a new goal to be like, find a new publisher or somebody else who wants to work with me. And so I looked at Uncomfortably Dark, and they had the Blood Moon poetry series, and so I hit them up and was lucky enough that Christina and Candace accepted my work. So that is July, and it is a short poetry collection called A Curse Thrown from the Hanging Tree, which is also the title of one of the poems in it.
Okay.
So
It's
that
very
that's on
evocative.
the
I love it.
books.
And very
Thank you.
evocative. I'm like,
Thank you. Thank you. It's like a very witchy sort of fairy tale, and there's there's a poem in there that's, like, based on Penelope, from the Odyssey,
Mhm.
called Penelope's Resignation. Uh, so that was just a really fun collection to write, and then there are some anthology things that I'm not allowed to talk about yet,
Okay.
but that are really, like, exciting that I'm doing. And then I also recently secured an agent, which is awesome. Agents, plural.
Congratulations.
very
Thank
nice,
you,
very
thank you.
nice.
So I'm doing a bunch of, of course, like, they are so wonderful and so supportive and gave me their thoughts on some existing manuscripts, and so I need to keep working on those to send them back so that they can then hopefully,
All right, lots of stuff going on, very exciting. Well, we will be there cheering you on, and hopefully we'll
thank you,
have you back on to talk about some of these projects in the future.
thank you, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Well,
this was a lot of fun, and we're not too far apart that we can definitely make a drive to come and see you.
Yeah, you should just, like, swing by, you know?
Yeah,
Just
well,
swing
there's
by
that
sometime.
Mexican restaurant that's right on the Lake Erie there
well, the one that yeah,
in
in Ohio,
Ohio.
yeah.
Oh,
In
yeah.
Ohio,
Ohio,
in Ohio, 3 hours
you
away,
know,
that's okay.
Uh,
Close
you're
enough.
right,
just
I
a
forgot. Look,
short 4-hour drive or whatever.
I didn't mean to be absurd about that. I forgot that I was like,
I
just that's
forgot
right.
Lake Erie was so big. It is big,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
but
so
you know
big.
what? We can find a new one. That's
No,
fine.
no, that's great though, but awesome. Best of luck to you, and again, it was a pleasure talking, it always
So much
is.
Yes,
fun.
You're
you
such a
too,
great
thank you.
speaker. Anybody that wants to have someone on a panel that you can,
If you
understand
want
what
a
they're getting
research
into.
nerd, yep, you
Exactly.
call me, and I will be there with bells on.
Yes. Well, have a wonderful night, and
You
thank you so
too.
much.
Thank you all
Thank
so much.
I
Okay, bye-bye.